Welcome to Liza's Painting Parties. I am Liza and we are all here together to do our weekly free painting party. For this week, it is a paint from photo event. And our photographer, as per usual, is Michael Lyons, and he has so graciously allowed us to recreate his beautiful photo. And this one is just breathtaking and so gorgeous. It's this one here, and I've called it Rainbow Sky. Sorry, my light is kind of giving it a bit of a glare, but I'll make sure that when we're painting, you'll be able to, this will be available on the side as we're going through, as I'm painting, and I'll talk through the process. Also, if you look earlier today, on the post earlier today, it will have this image, so you can always go back to the post from earlier and grab a screenshot or save the picture so you can have it as reference as you go about painting this on like maybe another device or something, because even though I'll have it available, it will be a little bit small. So I'm really excited to do this. I did see a few comments a little concerned about thinking this is going to be really difficult. And I just want to just welcome and assure you that we will walk through it step by step. And of course, if it's like your first time painting or if you're not comfortable with acrylics, it may not turn out exactly the way you want it. It might look a bit different. But also the whole thing of when we paint from photo and when we're doing our own painting is to put our own style and inspiration behind it. So I never try to make my painting or my art exactly what I'm replicating. I try to put my own vibe or feeling or paint stroke or whatever into it to make it my own, and I encourage you to do that as well. Also, it helps for anyone who's a bit of a control freak like me to get out of your head a little bit, and instead of looking at the items and thinking they are what they are, so looking at it being like this has to be a sky with clouds and it has to look a certain way, try just to break it down into colors and shapes and just try to mimic that. So that's how I help. I find that it helped me a lot to get out of my head a bit about it and to go with it. But I will walk you through it step by step, and I'll talk how I go about doing it. If you have your own way or approach to do it, you're more than welcome to do that and to share it as well. So if you have any tips, any tricks, any questions, you can feel free to pop them in the comments there, and I'll keep an eye on the comments as we go through. Also, if you end up popping something in the comments that I don't see and one other of you have an answer, feel free to help each other out and answer. If you haven't joined me before, welcome. And for anyone who's joined me before, and this is your second or third time coming, thank you so much, and I'm so happy that you're here. Just as a little like recap, the way I do these are kind of like a book club where we have our books or our reference image, and we're all encouraged to interpret it however we so desire. So just because I'm the one here and you're following me does not mean I am the expert and everything I say is like the way. There's many different ways to approach art and to do this, so feel free to comment and to share and to take your own spin and interpret it whichever way you want, okay? However, like I said, anyone who's new and is a little scared, I will walk you through it step by step. I'll go through what supplies that I have. The supply list is also in the post for the videos that has the supplies, and I always put the exact same supplies every week because I don't use specific paint colors for things. I just use the basic primary colors and black and white. And if you have other colors, you're more than welcome to use other colors as well. But I kind of do it in a very cheap approach to things. So it's whatever I have at the dollar store, whatever I've had already is what I use. If you have any financial constraints, then that should help your approach to it as well. Anyone can paint and have a great time doing it for not a heck of a lot of money. I get all of my stuff from the Dollarama. And yes, buying more expensive supplies does improve quality and can be better, but it's not necessary to producing something that's really great that you can love and you can hang and you can be really proud of. So if you'd like, feel free to let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Ajax, Ontario, which is just 30 minutes or so from Toronto, which is where I was born and raised. And it was a very crazy thunderstorm, like high winds and like madness for like a blip during today, and now it's like sunny and it still looks pretty windy but nice, so nice weather. You'll see some sun probably hitting a little bit as I'm going through it. So let me know where you're tuning in from. This session will take about 2 hours, as most of my sessions do. And if you're watching right now and you're not able to paint along, you can rewatch this on my YouTube channel under Liza's Painting Parties, or you can rewatch it under my videos tab on my Facebook page, and it will live on both platforms ongoing. If you're joining and you are hard of hearing or want subtitles, from my understanding, from what I was checking out, the lives don't produce the subtitles right off the hop through Facebook just on their own. But once it's complete, I can do that. So the only issue for anyone who has any concerns like that, you'd have to watch the recording once it's completed, and I'll make sure that everything's there. Okay? I think that's good. Let me see. Hi, Cynthia. Fantastic. Oh, it's sprinkled there for you, eh? I know. This is a gorgeous picture, eh? Facebook skipping. Yeah, I'm just noticing a little bit that my stream looks a little funky, which is not good. I am going to just push through it. In the past, when I've tried to, like, reconnect or just fix it, I end up, like, losing it, and then, like, the stream just goes down, and it ends up being a whole thing. So I'm just going to cross my fingers that it will work. It'll get better, and hopefully it does. We'll send some good vibes to like the technological gods of Facebook and our internet connections and see if that works today. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, and Sheila, you're saying it's, yeah, so you can, yeah, the replay should play smoothly. That's what I've seen. So the live sometimes get funky, but apparently the replays seem to be decent. So, oh no, I hope everyone doesn't die either. Hi, Rula. I'm glad you're joining. Fantastic. Hi, Cindy. Monica's here. Awesome. Northern Ireland. Amazing. Oh, that's great. Oh, it's bedtime. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, feel free to paint when it's daytime or whatever you so desire. Have a good night if you do end up falling asleep to this. Perfect. That's great. Yeah, absolutely. So anyone who can't paint right now, no stress. You can paint at any time later. Like I said, I will go through, it's going to have the glare from a little bit. I'll move it like there for now, but I'll move it properly after. I'll go through the paint supplies that I have, and yeah, and then just if for anyone else who is interested, so if you would like to leave me a tip, there's a link there, so you can. You do not have to, but it's there if you so desire. Also, if you would like to host your own paint parties, you can reach out to my website. Is also in a link there, lisaspaintingparties.com. And I have the rates there, and we can do a virtual party, or we can do in person, and I also do corporate events. That's not on the website yet, but I'll be adding that shortly. But feel free to reach out, and we can discuss that if that's something that you might be interested in doing. And I think, yeah, we'll go through the supply list right now. So I am using a canvas today, a 12 by 16 stretched canvas. I wanted to do this one on stretched canvas because I definitely want to hang this one, I'm pretty sure. I often use canvas board just for storage and making it a little bit easier to keep things, because I keep all my paintings. I don't paint over them. And then I have paint, so I use acrylic paint. Again, you're encouraged to use any type of paint. I have experience using acrylic. If you ask me about watercolors or oils, I cannot help you. I do not have any experience using any of the mediums. I'm very much a creature of habit, and I stick to like the same thing I've been using since I was 16, which is acrylic paint. So I have two different types of acrylic paint that I dip into. I have Artist Lock acrylic paint, which is it's like it ends up drying with a bit of a shine on it, which is quite nice. And I got these from Michael's, which is an arts and crafts store here. And then I also use these ones, the Crafters acrylic, and this is from the Dollarama. And I'll go back and forth between them. But the colors, like I said, are red, blue, and yellow for your primary colors, and black and white, and we can create anything. Of course, if you have pre-mixed orange, a pre-mixed pink, a pre-mixed purple, that will make your life a little bit easier when we're doing some of the stuff, but it's absolutely not necessary. And if I do end up using a pre-mix, I'll let you know, but I'll also explain what you can mix to get a color. The thing to keep in mind, though, too, is the primary colors, they vary in tone and shade depending on which brand you get. And even from like the crafters acrylic, they have different names. So for example, like this one is bright red, some are Christmas red, and they have different names. So that may just change things up a little bit. Again, I don't go specific into that because I think we should just have fun and like enjoy it. But if you're interested, I can tell you specifically which ones I'm using as I do it, if that's your MO and you liked it to be very specific. Okay. I have, but I won't do that until I actually use them because I'm on the seat of my pants kind of girl. I also have paper towel ready to go. I have some water containers as well. I have a palette to mix our paint on. I usually mix directly on the canvas, and I'll again speak through that as we go through it, but I do put my paint somewhere. And then I recommend having at least 3 brush sizes, a large, a medium, and a fine. And my large is a size 10, flat, it's slightly rounded. I have a size 4, so I have a size 2 for my medium brush, and this one's a size 4, but it's quite thin. I like a size 4 because there's a lot of bristles, so it holds a lot more paint, but it still gives me a nice fine point to it. If you have more brushes than this, that's totally fine, and again, you can use whatever you're comfortable with, and it just varies depending on the size of your canvas that you want to change the size of your brush just to make your life easier. Yeah, I think that is that. Let me put this back on. Perfecto. Okay, so that's gonna live here, and I will move things in just a moment. Fantastic. Hello, Geraldine from Ireland. Amazing. Yay, Lynn's here. Yay, I'm glad you're here, Lynn. Yeah, I'm glad you think that's good, Monica. That's awesome. Yeah, if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me and let me know because I'd love to host. And you had some bad weather, Helene, yeah? Oh, man. Yeah, it was kind of nice, but it got really, my husband was saying, I haven't been outside since the rain, but he was saying it got quite muggy around here, which, you know, I mean, it's expected, I suppose, when it's getting into the summer months, but definitely not my preferred type of weather. I feel like we don't have enough, like, just nice spring weather, you know? I feel like it's getting shorter. It's like winter to, like, crazy summer. But what can we do? Okay, awesome. All right, so I need to just do a few things and move my camera so you can see things and not see me. I know there's a light there. Which light is that? It's this one. Okay, let's go that way. Okay, cool. So we still have some light, but you don't have a glare, which is important. Oh my gosh, and Abby, you're from Belgium. That's so cool. And Pam's in Tennessee. I love it. I love seeing where all of you are tuning in from. That makes me so excited. I used to be, as a kid, I loved geography so much, and I would know everywhere where the world, anyways, I just loved it. So now to see, like, all these people tuning in from all these places that I've looked on a map and, like, try to understand and study, like, it's so cool. So thank you all for chiming in and letting me know. Okay. Oh no, Cynthia says her cat just jumped on her paint palette and jumped right off, and now there's a paw print trapped through the house. I think your cat's trying to be creative too. That's pretty cute, but frustrating. I can understand. Oh, Cynthia, oh no. Oh, and hi, Cheryl. You're here for the first time. I'm so glad you are. That's great. Oh, and it feels like 108. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm in Canada, and I don't fully understand what that means, but I do understand that over 100 is pretty darn hot for our American friends. Here it was like, I think they said it was going to feel like 40, but that's like in Celsius, and that's very gross for us. Yay, someone put, yay, Doreen. Yay, I'm so glad. Okay, great. Let's get started. I'm just going to keep saying hi. I'm like very social, so it'd be really great if I get all of y'all and we could all do it in person. That'd be so fun. But not so possible considering everyone's everywhere in the world. Okay, let's stop and let's start focusing on paint. Okay, so what we're going to do first is what I always do first, which is whatever is furthest in the background. So when I look at this picture, I look and I see the sky is going to be the first thing I'm going to paint. And what I want to capture is, I'm not going to worry about the clouds right now. I'm just going to get the colors going from this kind of like dark ultramarine type blue, could even be almost like a purple, really, which would be kind of nice. Maybe I'll go purple up there, I'm not sure. It goes into like a medium blue to like a bit of a light blue, and then it changes over into this like orange and yellow, and there's just some pink that's hinting in there too. So we're gonna play with that and get that color gradient from this kind of like purple to blue to light to orangey to yellow, and play with those colors. And the only thing I'm gonna think about is I want the sky to come, it's not really halfway, but I might end up doing it about halfway, maybe just a little bit higher than halfway down my canvas. So I just want to think about that when I paint, how much it's going to take. Now, when I paint my sky, and when we do this, I know I'm doing a lot of talking right now, not that much painting, but when we do this, I'm going to be painting fairly quickly, but I'll talk with you as I'm going through it. I do all my mixing and my blending on my canvas, and I do when all the paint is still wet. I also tend to use usually my largest paintbrush, and I don't use water during this process. When I need to like remove a paint color, if I'm concerned about that, I rely on my paper towel to do that. So that's how I go about it. Like I said, that's not like the best wonderful way, but that's how I do it. That's how I approach it. So I will speak from that perspective, and if that works for you, cool. And if you have your own way to do it, that's totally cool too. So as of right now, let's get some paint on our palette. So I have the blue. I am going to use the Flow Acrylic. It's just called blue. This one because I really like how, oh my gosh, I always forget. Every time I do that, I like shake it and then it like bubbles and spurts out. But it's like one of those things where it happens and I'm like, oh, why did I forget? Of course it's going to spurt out. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of red because I'm going to want to, I'll show you how much paint I'm using in just a moment. I find with this paint, this Flow Acrylic, I need less than I just shook that up. It's going to spurt out. Yeah, that one was nice. That was great. At least I didn't get it on me. I don't need as much paint usually with this Flow Acrylic. I mean, I guess that's a good thing considering I waste so much with this weird spurting that happens. But anyways. And then, I'm going to need some white. I'm not going to even shake it this time because this is ridiculous. Okay. And I don't think I'm going to touch black right now. Do I want a little bit of black? No. I'm going to try and do my red to get it a bit darker when I need it. Okay. So, that's kind of the amount. Oh, there you go. That's how much I have of paint. That's my white, my blue, my red, and my yellow. You can add, if you want to put a little bit of black too, you can go that route. I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to just use my red to darken my blue to get like kind of a purplish in my dark corners. That's how I'm going to approach that. Oh, fantastic. Helene said 40 Celsius is 104 Fahrenheit. Okay, well that's good to know. Yeah. So and you said you were like a 108, you said? Oh my gosh. Unusually hot everywhere. Yeah, man. That's gross. It's gross. Yeah, I'm okay with when it's hot. I can't handle like the humidity and the stickiness, and I know it's different depending where you are, but oh, like that's the worst part for me. I've heard like Florida's really bad. Like it gets very gross there. We were going to go on a trip there, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that in June. I'm not sure if I want to do that. Okay. Stop having fun talking. Let's get this done. Okay, let's start with my blue. So I'm going to start with blue. I have not primed. I don't have a gesso or anything on my canvas. So I'm going to have to ask that. I'm just using it out of the package. So I'm just going to start with my blue, and I'm just going to start getting some blue on here. Like I said, I really like this blue a lot. And I'm just going straight up with this blue right now because it's the primary color of this sky that really just sticks out as it is vibrant. When we're doing this, you want to paint fairly quickly. I have like a thin coating on my canvas, and I'm starting to kind of get this like angular vibe happening already with this blue, right? And I know there's some blue that comes down, but I want to start getting that feeling because I don't want to lose the movement. I feel like that gives this photo and it will give the painting a lot of movement. I'm going to remember to paint the tops and the sides of my canvas because I forget to do that. I think because I've been using the canvas boards for so long that it's driven me a little bit crazy when I've forgotten a few times. Just have my blue. Now I'm going to get my red because I want this corner to have like a purple vibe. And I'm just going to tap it in. Let's bring it up and around too. Okay. And again, I'm going to go in this kind of, I just want that corner to get, there we go. And everything's really wet, so when I put that in, I'm just going to get a little bit more red to this corner. Everything's very wet, so it blends very easily, and then when I bring it down into my blue, it doesn't create like a harsh line, it just becomes really soft because my blue is also very wet, so it just blends really nice and easy that way, okay? Now what I want to do now is, because I don't want that darkness to come down into my blue, I'm using my paper towel and I'm just getting rid of the darkness. It's okay that it's dirty and it's fine, but I want to go down to my white because I want my sky to get a little lighter. And I'm going to bring my white just below my blue line. Put a little bit more on there. Okay, and then we're going to start to bring it up into my blue. And I'm noticing that it already dried a little bit on the edges, which is okay. So I bring it up, and then I'll bring it a bit down. Okay, so I'm going to get more white. So whenever I bring more color, I go under wherever the paint is, and then I bring it up into it. And if you do it that way, I find you'll get a really nice blend happening. Otherwise, if you start with whatever color you're adding on top of the color, you end up losing a lot of that in the original color that you had. It kind of like overtakes it, and this just allows you a bit more control over the application of it and the blend of it. Now I already have like a beautiful sky. And in this process that we're doing this blend, as we're blending, it's already going to start to feel like there's clouds that are living in the sky, which that's what I like about this method as well. So what I've done, and I'm noticing I've already gone like way further than I wanted to, but that's okay because I can clean it up a little bit as we go. I do want to bring the blue a little bit further down on this side. So again, I'm going to get my white because the white is going to bring the blue down for me to start, and then I'll add a little bit more blue into it. I'm just getting white. Okay, and I'm going to get a touch of blue, and I'm just going to add that little dab just so it's not white. I don't want it to be white. Okay, so now that's looking cute. All right, nice. Now, if you have pre-mixed orange, you can dig into that, and that's cool. This is where it becomes a little tricky, because when we start to play with yellow, right, if you mix yellow into your blue, you're going to get green. And if you look at this inspiration image, I don't see any green in the sky. There's no blend of those colors that happen to make a green. So that's what's kind of interesting when we do this. You have to be a little cautious of that. So when I blend, what kind of happens naturally is that the end here, I end up using like less paint. So it does end up drying faster. So it's actually already almost pretty dry to the touch at the bottom here. So that's beneficial. If it's not like that for you, that's okay. You just need to wait a little bit, and you want to make sure that before you start applying your orange or any yellow that this is already dry. Otherwise, it's going to blend into your blue and you're going to get a green sky. And that's, I mean, you can have a green sky if you want, but personally, I don't want that. Awesome. Hi, Irene. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, so I'm still using the same brush. I have not put any water on it yet. I'm just using my paper towel to clean it off a bit. So it's still a little bit of a blue rub in it at the moment. So I think at this point, before I go into using the color, I am going to rinse off my brush. Because again, I don't want that blue to turn into green. Okay. Just going to try to get as much as I can off of this brush. Okay, that's good. All right, so now you have some nice pinks happening and some oranges. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go down here and place where I want that yellow to live. And then I'm going to go in and start putting some of my orange. And then I'll come in this way, bring the orange. And then after I will get some pinks happening. So I want to start with yellow. So I'm just going to get my brush. I'm going to get my yellow on there. And I think I want my yellow to live like in this area here. Okay, and I'm going to go a little bit wider than I want it because I'm going to still want to make some of that yellow into an orange. And again, I'm going to be doing this right on my canvas. So I'm just going to get it a bit higher. Okay. And now I'm going to get my red. And I'm going to go above. And then we're going to start mixing it in. I need some more yellow actually. The red's pretty strong. Just putting some yellow right on top of my red just to tone it because that red is whew. Cool. Okay, so we have that happening. And again, this line here to the blue, I mean, there is a pretty good division between it, but I want it to be a little bit more blended. So I'm just going to mix it up a little bit because there's some changes happening there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some white. I'm just going to go above it. And I'm just going to bring the white in to help with the blend a little bit. I'm just going above. Okay, cool. And then we have some pinkish orangey happening on this side. So I want to capture that. Let's get some red. I want to get some red and white actually before I don't usually do this, but I am just getting a little bit of a pink happening on my brush before going because that red is just a little too powerful. All right, so now I'm just going to go in with some pink here. I'm just getting some lines in. I want to add some of this pink. And there's some pink on this side too, so I'm just going to add that in. It's really pretty sky. Sides too. Okay. And I'm just going to keep it streaky because I kind of am digging the way that's looking. So I don't usually, oh, that's a nice, when I clean my brush, it's like a nice like a little rainbow happening. Kind of cute. Paper towel art. Why not, right? I'm just noticing there's a little blending I need to do, so I'm just going to get some white to help. I rely on white a lot to, like instead of using water, I use white to blend a lot of my color. Okay, now I just need to see, it's tricky, let me just do this for a second. Okay. So I just need to bring this side down a bit. And it's kind of orangey at the bottom here. I'm just going to add a little bit of orange. To the line. Before we put in the silhouette, I just need to blend it in a little bit. So I'm just going to get some yellow. Just touching it with yellow. Just to blend that in ever so slightly. Okay, cool. I still want to keep that bright wisp of yellow. Okay, so now that's a nice background, and I'm happy with the color gradient, so that's cool. So that we can then play off of that when we put some clouds in, and we can like play with more colors if we want to, right? Because we can always go into any type of style that you want, right? So there's so many different painting styles that you can play with, right? You can make it more, like if you think about like Vincent van Gogh and how like it's almost like every section has like a color, right? So there's so many colors at play. So you could approach it that way instead of having a full blend. That could look really cool too. So there's no right or wrong way to do something. This is the way I like to do it in terms of having this nice soft blend. But then we're going to be layering on top of this once we have the colors that we want. So I think the colors look really pretty right now, and I'm capturing that. Yeah, hopefully you're digging yours too. And if you're not, it's okay, because honestly, when I look at the image that you're seeing, it looks really good. And then when I look at it in person, I'm like, ooh, there's things I could fix. Like it doesn't look as good as it does on the screen. So if you're not sure about your painting, you may want to like take a picture of it. And sometimes it looks better on the screen. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Okay. Now, before I do the other things on top, I think I want this to dry. So I'm just going to let it all chill out. And so I think while it chills out, what we can start to work on is we can start to work on the water, which is a nice, really bright orangey reflection of what's going on in the sky. And again, we're going to start with like a base layer just to capture the color that's happening, right? And it kind of reflects it. So on this side, there's a little bit here, and it's kind of the same kind of pinkish color. And then it's orange on that side. So that's what I'm going to play with now. So you can either, again, do like a premix if you have, which I think I'm going to do a little bit just because, again, my red was very intense. So I'm going to mix it a little bit. So if you have your own orange, cool. If not, you might want to mix your yellow and your red together just to get a bit of a base happening. And I'm going to start just to pop this in. So this is my water now. And you can pretty much go right up to like where you left off. Just remember that we're going to have to still put in our, if it's helpful to keep a little bit of a gap, do it. Because you still need to keep in mind where our lamb's going to live, and we don't want to mix it up too much. Okay. So first step for water is just to get the base going. We want to just get a base of paint on here. And then this is a little pinkish on this side. Pop that in. is like, yeah, that's not water. Okay. It's like brick or some kind of thing that's happening there. Okay, and then this, we want it to start to flow to the side. Okay, and then it gets darker. It's almost like a purpley-ish happening. I'm gonna try to see what happens when I add a little bit of blue. Oof, it's very blue, isn't it? So that's not what I want. I want it to be more red, more purpley. So I just put some red on top of there because that blue was not doing what I wanted it to do. But I do want it darker on the side in this corner. So then I went more on an angle to try to capture this kind of like where the waves are, and I want to get the sides of it too because I definitely forgot of there as well. Okay, cool. Let's play a little bit more with that pink. Okay, so now we have where the water's going to live. Okay, awesome. I mean, I don't really need it to go on that side because we have some land. Just gonna do that though. Okay, cool. Nice. Very pretty. I think I'm gonna retire my big old brush and I'm gonna go to my medium brush, I think. I might do my medium or my fine. It's really up to you what you feel more comfortable with. I think my medium brush is going to be what I need. So now that I'm done with this brush, in that one water container I had, it's quite paint. It's pretty much blue. So I'm just going to use my other water container to keep that brush in because I don't want it to sit in like a paint, super paint water. Okay. What is next? Okay. So I think I want to play with the water a little bit more before we jump back up to the sky. Ooh. Okay. I just discovered that I guess when that white paint bubbled up and stuff, it landed on my paintbrushes that I had sitting on the side. Oh well. Okay, cool. It's weird when it's like sticky when you pick it up. That's kind of odd. Okay. Awesome. All right, so I want to start getting in some of the water vibes. So a few things. Let's see. So close to where our horizon and our land in the distance lives, it is a little bit dark just underneath it. So I do want to capture that. So I'm going to get an orange, like a darker orange. And I want to just make it a little darker on that line with this brush. Okay. And then I'm noticing that it then gets a little bit lighter from there. So I'm going to get the yellow. And I want to just start to play with some of the colors in here. So I'm seeing that there's some yellow that's coming out really nicely in this area. So I'm just going to pop some yellow in. Okay. And some of the waves have a little curve into them. So I'm just going to start to play with some of the movement that's living on this side. So as it's further away, everything's a lot thinner and you can't really see one wave from another, right? But it's nice to have some of the variation in there. And as it comes to the front, they're a little bit more, you can see the waves a little bit more. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to keep playing a little bit. And back here again too, like you can hardly see the definition of the waves. Like it's just like little kisses of lines, like little soft touches of color. But at the front, you can see more. This gets darker, so we don't want to bring too much yellow in there. I'm just going to blend this out a little bit more. Nice. Okay. I'm just going to add a little bit of white in here too. Oof, can't really even see it. There we go. I'm going to put a few little white lines down here because it's almost like that's where the sun was setting and it's a little lighter in this zone. And it is a little lighter on this side, so I'm just going to lighten it up a little bit here. I am like dry brushing, I guess. My brush is pretty dry, has a little bit of paint, and I'm just blending it in that way. Okay, so we want to play with some of the darker colors that are happening all in here. And that's like a really dark purple for me. So I'm just going to get a dark purple on my brush. Okay. And I'm going to start in the darker areas. Actually, I want this a little bit more blue. That's too blue. I'm just going to start to put in a little bit of a wave that kind of is coming in. Okay. I might use a little touch of water to see if that helps me blend it a little bit. Okay, just having it a little darker there. Okay, I want to leave some areas a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to put a few little tendrils. I don't know where I'm getting my words from today, but that's how I'm feeling. They kind of feel like little, almost like hair tendrils, like how it's kind of squiggly, a nice little groove to them. So I'm just going to keep adding like, and as I go further away, I want my lines to get a little bit thinner when possible. Okay. And when you start doing them, like they're not going to look that great, but then the more you do and the more you layer, it's going to look nicer. And I want them to go off the side of the canvas too. Okay, now I think I don't know, I'm going to continue this for a little bit and then I'll switch to a smaller brush after. So I'm just bringing my brushes very, I don't know if you can see, but it's like really rough. And so it kind of scrapes along my canvas. Like it doesn't just hold the paint and like be very smooth. It's actually quite, has a lot of texture to it. So it'll allow me to kind of make it, the water look like dark without having to worry about it being so specific. So I think that's working nicely. Okay, so there's that nice. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to play more with that dark orange, and I'm going to go back in and I want to put in some more dark orange and orange into the areas that I've just made, basically, right? So I'm going to get some orange happening with my red and my yellow. And I want it, I think that's okay. Let's see how that color goes and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I want to add some I'm just going to add some orange. I need to switch my brush. I need to go with something a little bit more control. I want it to be, I don't want it to be as rough as I've done it. Okay, so let's play with this. I'm just going in and putting more of these little waves. I'm going to use some water just to smooth it out a little bit. I want some in the background too, so. Okay, and as you come in here, we want it to be a little bit lighter as we get to the middle. So I want to go more with like a little bit lighter and a bit more yellows. And they're going to be like more like littler, smaller lines. I'm going to get like a lot of paint because my brush doesn't really hold that much of it at a time. So I want to make sure I have enough to give me a little bit of little strokes. Okay, cool. So I also want to go back and put a little bit of highlight into this darker area. So I'm going to go with white. Ooh, okay, actually maybe it's a light pink. Looks like, but that's okay. You know, that can actually work out good. So I'm going to go and just touch some spots and bring a little bit of this lighter, almost little waves, little reflections happening here. Just doing like little touches here too. Okay. Okay, I think I want to put in my horizon, the land that's living there, just to give me a base for that before we go back and play with the sky. Okay. So, now is when I need black. Okay. And I would like to use something as a guide to give me a nice straight line. So I'm going to grab another painting I've done, which we might end up doing for another class, just so I can use it as like a line. So I just don't want it to be wet, so I don't want it. Okay, so I want my line to kind of go, that's where my orange is, so like kind of like there, I suppose. Okay, so I'm just going to take this away. So I'm going to use this other painting Maybe I can do it like this actually. You know what? That could work out well. Yes. You know what? I'm gonna do it like that, I think. Perfect. Okay. People joining in are like, what is happening? Okay. I'm just doing what the painting's showing just because I don't want to, I don't think anything's wet on that side, but I didn't want to, like, okay, cool. Just wanted to get my guideline. Perfect. Yeah, we might end up doing that painting another time. But, there we go. Okay, now we are good. Now that we have our line, now let's play off it a little bit. So we have like a little bushy kind of thing here. Just gonna put that in. Like that. And I'm just gonna go over the line, make it. So I did it initially, it was more just so I had a guide. I might add a little bit more. Maybe I'll just make this a little bit more textured. A little bit more to this here. For fun. Okay, and then we'll bring this across. I'm just gonna make another like little mountainy silhouette in the distance over here. Okay, cute. Okay. And then I can see there's another kind of mass that kind of comes out here. And then it kind of comes down like that. So I'm just gonna put that in right now too. I'm just gonna do that in black. Now I know it looks a little bit more dark green, and that's fine. You can go that route if you want to, but I'm just gonna stick with the black. I might I might make it a little bit a different color afterwards. I'm gonna like separate it out from the back. Okay. Cool. Nice. All right. So I think, do I want to go back and play with the sky? Not sure. I do want to almost put like a little bit of dark in this area too. I'm just going to go with my black and just put a few little lines in too. I can't help myself. I think that looks nice. Oh, no worries, Diane. I'm glad that you are dropping in and saying hi. Again, like anyone who missed some of this, you can always rewind. You can always watch it later because it'll be all available on my Facebook page and also on my YouTube channel. Okay. Just adding a little bit more of these darker waves in here. Again, the more we add and the more layers we put on, the better it will look, essentially. Okay, so where shall we go next? So part of me wants to start doing some of these rocks in the front, and part of me wants to go to the sky. I think because I have the black going, I think I'm going to start placing in a little bit. Like, I kind of want to do like this dark rock that's living there. So I think I'm going to do that. So let's place that. So it's kind of like a rectangle-ish. He's living here. And then there's like some ground it goes into. So I'm not going to worry so much about that this looks like a rock. I'm just going to worry about the shape that I'm trying to copy and put into this. Okay. And then seeing that it kind of comes out a little bit like this. And then it connects. Okay. Coolio. And then I'm seeing that there's also here, that's like a dark edge that I'm going to put in as well. So I think I'm going to go like here. And bring it down. Okay. And then I'm going to just carve out a little bit of like what this rock line is going to kind of look like. So it's a little jagged. I know it's going to be more of that gray, but that's okay. We can just, I use the black to play with it for now and then. And then there's like, it kind of comes up and fits here, and then up. And then it kind of goes down and there's like foliage and stuff. Okay, so that looks cool. That's good, that's good. And then I also see on the other side, we also have some rocks and things that are happening on this side. So, not sure where I want to go with that. Let me just look at this for a second. Okay. So I can see that there's like a, almost like a, it's like a rock, but it's very hard to see. It's just like a silhouette of it, so it's fine. And I'm seeing other ones like that as well. So I'm seeing kind of like one that's like here, kind of like weird geometric-y type shapes. Just go with it. I'll put in some in this black, and then I'll probably do some in like a dark green, and then we'll highlight some of them. Seems strange, but we will go with it. Okay. And then there's like another one. Okay, and then even over here, it kind of like sticks out, and then it kind of comes down, and then there's like rocks and stuff that are living like all in here. I'm just gonna create a bit of a like a line where the rocks are gonna kind of like that. Okay. We'll do the same thing on this side. Just to give me a bit of a guide of where to work with. Okay, cool. Oh, hi Tom. Thank you. Thanks for saying hi. Oh, and I'm glad, Cynthia, your phone died and you ran to the store. Yeah, good. I'm glad that you didn't miss that much. That's awesome. That's great. Okay, cool. So, now, anyone who knows me knows I'm like not a fan of like doing all this like structure, all these structure bits are like not what I enjoy about painting. But that's okay. We've kind of blocked them in, so that's good. So we have an idea of where they're going to live, which is fine. And now I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to jump back up to the sky for a little bit before I continue on what I kind of consider like the boring structural work at the bottom. All right, so I just cleaned off my detailed brush because I don't want to use that too much, and I don't want it to stay with a lot of black paint. I'm going to go back to, I think, my medium brush. I think. No, actually, no. I'm going to go back to my more fine brush. Okay. And I want to put in some more detail in the sky. So I want some dark kind of purplish clouds to live here. So I'm going to mix my blue and my red together to get purple. I get that purple, which is fun. Okay, now that I have some of that purple, now I want to play with some of these clouds here. So I'm going to start with just putting a little bit of streaks in here. Like wisps of purple. I might use a little bit of water actually just to make it a little smoother. You don't want too much water or else it'll get too runny. I want to put a few more like streaks. Okay, and then up here, I'm going to build a little bit of a peak there. So I'm just going with my brush with purple. I'm using water a little bit. And I'm just looking and kind of following a bit of the lines in the sky. So I'm just trying to copy the lines that I can see from the image. Let's get the vibe of it to get some purple happening. I feel like I'm using more water than I would think I would use, but I think it's working nicely like this. Cool. Let's put a few more up here just to get it. Okay. And I think I'm going to put a little bit up here. And I do see some of that dark purple kind of floating inwards, so I want to put a little bit in. And I want to put a little bit in on this side. I'm just putting like little streaks, few lines kind of going in the same direction as the way the sky is living. I'm seeing like a few little ones here. Very light. Don't want it to overtake anything. Cute, okay. So that's really adding some nice contrast, and I think it's making the other colors pop a lot from that. Oh, I'm missing some comments. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, good. I'm glad that you like the picture, Liz. Yeah, I love it. I love the colors. And yes, Kat, this is available on my YouTube channel and also my Facebook page under the videos tab. It will be available. And thank you so much, Mary. That's really sweet. I really appreciate that. Okay, and what else shall we do here? So there's some nice fluffier clouds that I do want to capture as well, but I'm not going to use this brush to capture them. I'm going to go back to my medium brush to play with that. Okay, and they're kind of like pinky clouds, so let's get some pink happening. Almost purplish too. I'm going to start with pink and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I just have pink happening. And now I want to pop in some fluffiness that's going to live in this area. And I'm not going to think about clouds. I'm just going to think about this kind of fluffy element that's living in this spot here. And I'm using a little bit of white just to make it fluffy and mix it up a little bit into my background nicely. So we have that nice fluffiness happening. Let's put a little bit more fluffy, like a little here, a little here. Get some white, a little bit of white, and just go do. Okay, and we'll put a little bit more here. A little more here. And we'll put a little bit. Kind of go with the streaks that I put in before, and I'm just making some a little thicker with pink, and then I'm just going in as well and just getting a little bit of white and just adding some white to it. Okay, and I think I'm going to go now with white and do the same thing. And add some of these white fluffies in here. Okay. And this brush again is like a very like hard brush. So it blends the paint. Okay, and I'm just gonna go in and put a little bit of lines as well of white. Okay, and there's like a little bit of like white that lives here, but I don't like that so much. Let's soften that a bit. Cute. Okay. A little bit there. Okay, I think I want to leave that for now. And then now let's go play with some of the bottom area. And I might touch up the top again after that. I'm not sure. We'll decide later. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we'll play more with the water. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'm like super happy with the water yet. But it's pretty good so far. Okay. Let's go to the areas that I'm not super excited about painting, which is all this area. So I'm seeing here, it's again like kind of a rock back thing, but it's very, it has a lot of orangey elements to it, like it's reflecting those colors in there. It's a little bit darker. So I'm going to stick with that and kind of do like, almost like a orangey with like some of those purple vibes happening here, and just try and get that texture of the lines kind of coming on a bit of an angle, but being more flat. So I'm going to use a medium brush to do that. Let's start with orange. Ooh, I think I need more yellow. Yes, I do. Okay, so let's start here. Let's get this going. If it goes over the black, it's okay. We can always get the black again, paint it again. Okay, I need it to be a little darker. We need more paint. I'm using like orange, the red, and the yellow, and then I just got like a little smidge of blue to darken it a bit. Because when you mix yellow and red and blue, you end up getting a brown. So if we add like little bits, it works kind of nicely. And as you know, I do like to blend and mix right on my canvas. So, okay, let's bring this over more, and then we need to bring this down, and then we'll put in some more of this texture afterwards. So I'm noticing too that there's a slight shadow that's happening here. So let's put it in and make it a little darker. Okay, and this kind of goes strokes go downwards. Okay, so I think I want to use my more thin brush and put in a few little lines. Ooh, what happened there? Okay, thin brush, I need you to be thin. Okay, so I want to kind of have like a, I don't want the line to be straight. I want it to be a little whipple-wobbly. Okay. So a few little lines there. And then I'm seeing like there's kind of like a little bit of stippling. So I'm just going to put a little bit of, just to get a little bit of different texture and get some of this. And it's not going to be all over, it's just going to be in some spots of this, just to make it feel more like a rock that's splitting here. I'm just using black, and I'm just like going lightly and just going and doing little dots and stuff around this area. Okay, and then I want to get some a different color, do the same type of thing, just to add a little bit more. Okay, and I want some green. So I want to have a little bit of foliage things happening here, maybe a little bit more here. What else? There isn't too much, but okay. Maybe that's all for now. All right. Now I just want to make this a little darker here. Okay. All right. So we have the ground happening. Now I want to keep building some of this background rock area, and that's kind of a grayish vibe. So let's do that. Okay. So here, we want this to have gray too. So I'm just going to fill this area as well. Okay, and then this too. Okay. And it's a little darker on the front here. And it's a little darker here. Okay. Not too shabby. Okay, so maybe we can play and put some of the rocks over here too, since we're on our rock mission. Rock mission! So we have one that's kind of definitely lighter than that. Okay, so one is living here, so I'm going to do a bit of a, try to follow that shape of that guy. Okay, and then the side here is darker, so I just got a little bit of black to do this side a little darker. And then here as well is a little darker too. Okay, and then I'm going to use the white a little bit and then just kind of just do a little bit on the top here. And I need a little bit more white. I'm going to do a little bit here. There we go. And then maybe just emphasize that a little bit. And just do that, I think. Okay, that's an interesting boulder, but there you go. All right, and let's put some more rocks in place. Let's have some fun. Let's rock out. Okay, and then we're gonna put some, I see it's like, okay, so it's a bit lighter on top here. I'm gonna do a bit more so. Okay, and then it gets darker at the bottom. And it's definitely not smooth lines. Okay, so just kind of give that rock some vibes there. And then I'm seeing some kind of offshoots. It's a little dark over here. Okay, and then a little bit more here. Okay, and then on top, there's definitely a little bit lighter in some of these. Okay, cool. All right, and then what else do we got? I think maybe I'll move in and do some of the grassy area that lives here, and then we'll go back and put in some more things. You know, actually, before I do that, I just want to put a little bit of emphasis on this. A little bit more light on this rock guy here. Okay, cool. All right, so hope everyone is still enjoying, and whoever's painting along with me, thanks for sticking around. All right, let's go and put in some of this green bush here. Okay, so let's get some green happening. Mixing some of my blue and my yellow. Just gonna get like a base green, and then we'll play with the colors from there. Okay, so I'm gonna start by just kind of just want to fill in this area with green, and then I'll play with it afterwards. So let's just do that. This green is very bright, so that's okay. We are going with it. Give it a base, and then we will add, just going to cover everywhere that is still, I can still see the canvas essentially. Okay, green mound. Oh, thank you, Winnie. I appreciate that. I feel like rocks are, again, not my strength, so I appreciate you saying that. Again, I'm just focusing on like shapes and matching the colors, because if I think too much of rock, I feel like it doesn't look right. Okay, I'm going to get some black, and I'm going to start putting in a little bit of darker spots in my green area here. Okay, so right now, again, I'm just doing like, just to get some color, to feel like this is a green bush area. So I'm just going to get some different variations of color right now, and then we'll go and put more detail in a bit. Because that green was very bright, so I want to darken it up a little bit with black. But I don't want it to be just all one color. I want it to have a few different values. So I want it to be dark in some areas. I have green. Cool. I'm happy with that base that we can play with, which is great. Okay, so let's go back to my more detailed brush. And I think I want to just go straight up with yellow, I think. There's definitely still some green on there, but that's all right. And I'm just going to start to put like little lines, like little feelings of foliage and stuff that's coming out of this green mound that's in here. And as I'm doing this, the yellow, because everything's still wet, so everything's like mixing with each other, so I'm getting, it's not just like pure yellow, but then the green is kind of coming through a bit. Oh, almost dropped my brush. Okay, now I want to get green again. And it might almost look the same, but I'm just going to start doing the same kind of thing and just put more like little bursts of little definition of little leaves and stuff. And I want some to go on top of my yellow. Okay. Okay, so just have like that happening there. All right, and what else do we want to do here? I feel like there's almost like, I don't think probably the rocks you can see through, but maybe we want to add something else. I'm not sure. I don't know. I also want a little bit of darkness to it too. So I'm just going to put a little bit of black. And do like the same kind of thing, only in black as well. I'm just going to go back over and then just keep, again, this is one of those exercises of the more you add and the more you layer, just like potentially how much nicer it can keep looking, and it just has more texture and more depth to it, which is cool. Okay, I think that is feeling good. I'm enjoying that. Cool. So now we need to get this spot over here going. I think I want actually a little bit of this to kind of come out a little bit. Cool. Yeah, that's good. All right. Now this here. So we're gonna continue. I'm just gonna follow kind of what I can see, which is a lot of darkness. I'm debating whether or not, you know what, I think I'm just gonna fill it. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. Let's give it a base, a dark, probably black, realistically. I do want it to be a little lighter than black, but maybe yellowish. I'm just gonna fill this area. Up to the line that I created before. Just cover all the rest of the canvas that's still invisible. Okay. That's one way. Like, honestly, if you want to cover it that way, then it could go, you might just be able to just do like a silhouette kind of thing and just kind of leave it if the rest of it's being a little bit annoying. But I'm going to try to push through and put in some more details here so you can have some fun with it. Okay. Let's see. Where do we want to go from here. Okay, I definitely need a little more black. I think I'm gonna play with purple in this area and green. So red and blue. I'm not sure. Let me see. I don't know. No, maybe not. Maybe that's not working. Ooh. All right, let's continue putting some more rocks down here. I'm just going to go with black. It's jagged. Another kind of one here. I'm just going to go with black just to create these rock kind of shapes. Putting in some black in these spots here. You know what? I'm going to do a bit darker. Okay, and then I want to get some green. I'm seeing that there is some, it's a bit light, but that's okay. Some spots with some green that are living in here too. Maybe mossiness on top of some of these rocks, perhaps. Okay, and then what do we want to do with that? Okay, so I'm just going with yellow, just to create some right on top of the green, just to give it a bit of, I'm not even sure what, to be honest. Just like separate some of these out and just to feel like there's different layers. Oh, this brush is being weird. Okay, maybe we'll add just some more like foliage and stuff. You know what? That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to add a little bit of, I feel like there's other things kind of growing here. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Really dislike with the rocks. Okay, put a little bit more here. Doing some in the black too. I'm using right now some yellow and green, so I just mixed some of my blue into it just to go back and forth with that, because I'm not really digging the hardness of all the rocks and stuff. Not really digging this area here too much, so I'm just kind of going off on a bit of a tangent and playing with this a bit. Now I'm going to use some brown, but I'm just mixing my blue, my yellow, and my red together to get kind of like a brown kind of color, because I want to just add a little bit of that in here too. Okay, I'm just going to put in a little bit of light on some of the tops here. Give these rocks a little bit of light, or whatever these are. I'm not sure if they're rocks anymore. Okay. All right. Alright, I think I'm going to call that done. I still want to touch up a little bit down here though. It looks like it's a little rough. Okay. Alright. I feel like the water, we could still do a little bit more with it, but I think I'm going to call it quits for now. Ooh, not bad, and it's almost 8, so that was just under 2 hours. And again, like, there definitely could be more to be done, and to more touch-ups and more layers to play with, but I'm going to stop there. So I'm just going to go back to me for a moment. There we go. There you go. So thank you all for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this painting party. And next week I'll have another painting for you as well. There might be, I might have to change next week's paint party because there is something happening with work and a few other things, so I am hoping it'll go as planned on Thursday. If not, It might have to be on the Friday, but I'll let you all know if that is the case. The week after that, there is not going to be a paint party. It's the Canada Day long weekend, and I'll be camping, so I won't be around for that. But I'll be back at it in July, and I will also, on the last week of June, I'll have the July lineup ready for everyone, so you can see what we're going to be painting throughout the month. And I think that is about it. So I hope you all had a fun time. And please, if you join me, take a picture of your creation and share it with me. You can either direct message me or you can share it in the post. I obviously encourage if you want to share it with the community, because everyone likes to see everyone else's paintings and see what we've done. Everyone's very encouraging, so don't be shy if you're nervous of sharing. Everyone's quite lovely and very nice. And that is about it. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. And yeah, keep creative, paint partiers. Take care, everyone. Bye.